recording.
Mhm.
And we are live. Welcome back to the RINO podcast, Massachusetts #1 conservative podcast. Caitlin, a lot of rain here yesterday. 2
It
feet of
was crazy.
snow up north. I should have. If I planned this better, I would have canceled this episode and been up in Vermont.
Yeah.
Just surfing. This is a rare storm. It's perfect snowstorm. Not a flake lands in the Boston area, and you get dumped on at the resorts up, the mountains up north, and you're skiing
Yeah.
like it's Beaver Creek or something like that. It
My
is.
friends sent me pictures from Stowe and like Killington, and it's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a snowboarder. I'm not a skier, and it's harder for skiers to
Oh,
get powder. But
you're one of those people. Okay.
yeah, I'm a knuckle dragger.
Yeah.
If you get that kind of fresh powder on a board, it is. It's only happened a handful of times in my life. I've been lucky enough to get at least 10 to 12 inches or more, and you're just surfing on a cloud. It is so fucking fun. It is so fun. But yeah, one of these
It's
storms
just great
passes
getting
through.
going skiing. I mean, like guys, y'all know I'm a snob. So I'm a snob in the best way though, and I love skiing. Like snowboarding does get annoying though when people like to stop in the middle of the downhill and just like you have to go around them, and it's like, yeah, so I'm just out throw out my frustration at snowboarders for just a hot second. But yeah, no, it's great when you get fresh snow and you get this awesome storm and you're not, just fresh.
But you don't have to. There's no dicey travel to and from. You don't have to come back and shovel or snow blow. Like it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect snowstorm. So yeah, we got deluged yesterday with rain.
Oh my god, it was nuts.
My dog.
The amount of rain that we got yesterday was insane.
It was a lot. Yeah, so over 2 feet up north makes sense. That if it was all snow up there, it was crazy.
I was like cracking the joke that I like swam into work like from my house. I did an open water swim all the way there.
Just blame climate change. So we have a good topic today. This week,
it's been a crazy ass week.
It's been a great week.
In news within the conservative bubble.
Yeah. Fresh on the heels of the Massachusetts Republican State Committee expanding its lead of normals and expunging more of the freak right, the Daily Wire made a smart move and got rid of, I'll say, because if they want to keep you, if a company wants to keep you, they'll keep you. If they don't want to keep you, they fire you. Got rid of Candace Owens. Candace Owens, from the beginning, did kind of she's closely tied with Charlie Kirk. She, on the heels of Milo Yiannopoulos, remember him? This when she came to prominence, right?
That's a throwback.
Going to college campuses, you're not of the left. You call yourself a conservative, but the more layers you peel away, you're not really a conservative. And there is a definitional, is that a word? There is a definition for capital C conservatism that Candace does not fit into. But much like William F. Buckley expunging the John Birch Society back in the 60s, the Daily Wire rightly got rid of Candace Owens. The Massachusetts Republican State Committee rightly got rid of more of the freak right. The thing is, the normals like you and I have had enough of the bullshit. Soon, the Marjorie Taylor Greens will, maybe they'll always be around, but their influence will wane because it has to. Because people like you and I are just sick of them, sick of it. I'm sick of their freakishness. I'm sick of it. Like, I'm calling you out on your bullshit. Like, Candace Owens was definitely 100% being anti-Semitic with her little wink and a nod to
Christ
who
is
can't
king.
yeah, all that kind of shit. Like, but I didn't say anything. And the worst part about her is like she fucking does this shit and then like claims victimhood. Oh,
Her
you're
last
coming after me
tweet.
because I'm a woman and because I'm a woman of
Let
color.
me
It's like, who are you?
let me
What are you?
find this tweet. So, like, okay, I'm going to say in the beginning, when she first put out her first video that went like exploded on YouTube, I thought it was great. Okay, I do have to say, I thought that she made good points. But she got a little big headed with the fame that she got from exploding so fast. I don't know Candace personally. I do know people who know her, and they don't have good things to say about her personally. And, it's hard for me as somebody who, we do this small little podcast. I mean, it reaches like Massachusetts people, and it's hard for me to sit here and be like, what she says and what a lot of these commentators, she is not alone in this. What they say to their large audiences is real life, because it's not, right? Like, majority of the time, Christians are not going up to Jews saying Christ is king. That's really an online thing. And it's you being an asshole.
Yeah, right.
Like, you clearly just a dick.
Yeah, they're assholes.
And so with her, I think a lot of her commentary was just contrarian. It was nasty, and it was just not always totally with it with what is like currently within conservatism. And it's not like she was speaking truth, it was just garbage a lot of the time. And so when it went down, I mean, a lot of this before October 7th, she was out there.
Right.
But when October 7th happened, she just went crazy contrarian towards anything that she wanted people just to agree with her. And I think that that's really what was her motivating factor. Because what October 7th was a horrific terrorist attack from the elected government of Gaza, Hamas, on the Jewish people and Israelis in Israel. And what happened after was Israel going in with the mission to destroy Hamas, which is an elective government of Gaza. Okay? And she tried to pretend like Israel had no reason to do this. She tried to pretend that Israel was the ultimate aggressor. That's not the case.
By the way, this is very common. What she was doing is, you might as well be on the left. You might as well be working for MSNBC.
It was quote unquote freak right. Edmund Smirk. Hats off to you for kind of coming up with that. And you work for the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro is probably one of the most famous conservative Jewish men within the conservative bubble. And a lot of the people who work at Daily Wire are also Jewish. You were actively antagonizing them as an employee of their company. Okay, like actively antagonizing. Okay, we don't need to pretend that this is some freedom of speech issue. They allowed you to have freedom of speech.
Well, yeah,
you were
that's a good point, because Dave Smith, the libertarian comic Dave Smith, who has, as time, he's not that
not
funny.
super libertarian.
First of all, Big J Okerson is the funniest person on.
He's
Legion
just contrarian.
Skanks.
Okay, a lot of people confuse libertarianism with contrarianism, and that's what his shtick is. Okay, so,
but he's coming out saying, "Oh, where's the free speech?" Free speech is like, no one's saying you can't. Like, you have to have a job and work with other people at a company. The government's not kicking in your door. You can still actually, Elon Musk bought Twitter. Say whatever you want on there. You have
And
free,
trust me,
you have free speech. Doesn't mean you have to get paid for it. It's
that
actually
doesn't,
free.
and she has not been canceled. Let's throw
No,
that out there.
no.
She is not canceled. She and the Daily Wire, you like to say fired. I'll go with what was it, Jeremy? I forget what's his last name.
Boring.
Boring. They ended their partnership or whatever the heck he said.
Sure.
And for me, it's like, this is a long time coming, girl. Like, you were poking the bear. That is what you were doing. You were purposely trying to poke that.
Yeah.
And you were liking tweets on Twitter that were despicable. Like, one of the tweets said that accused a rabbi of drinking like Christian blood or something. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. She did this this kind of stuff regularly, and there is the differentiation between the freak right and the normals. Really, there are bright dividing lines, and at least online and in media, it is definitely the anti-Semitism line. That one seems to be a separator for who is who's on the freak right and who's more normal. By the way, we've had this fight before. I don't mean this generation, but a generation ago, maybe a generation and a half, we had this fight. The John Birch Society, as I mentioned earlier, when William F. Buckley kind of like put them all to the side, he fired all these writers at National Review that leaned in that direction. That this needs to happen again. They need to be relegated to their little wormy, swampy areas, and they will be. It
Hey,
happens.
girl, I'm just throwing it out there. You married into British aristocracy. Your platform on YouTube is going to be huge because people are going to still flock to you. You have not been canceled. You are not a victim. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it'll
like
be
her literally trying to, like, what was it? She compared herself to the persecution of Christians. Like, it was like, this tweet is like nuts. Like, let me also, to my brothers and sisters in faith who are recognizing that we need to stand by one another, there is this deep-seated hatred in the media for Christians. No one is going after you.
See, right there. It's like well, I didn't say
like literal false martyrdom. It's like crazy, Jeff.
But
you and I, right? So like we can like see through this shit like so fast.
So this is the thing that if you're a stupid person and Candace Owens goes, that's not anti-Semitic. It's like, no, it is, and you know what you're doing. But if you're a dumb person in her audience, you'll believe her that it wasn't. But look what she says: stand together, right? So why would you stand together? Somebody from the outside. Wait, hang on.
Go ahead.
Somebody from the outside is attacking you. Who's that somebody from the outside? Oh, well, it's the Daily Wire. Well, and who's running the Daily Wire? It's like Ben.
The worldwide persecution of Christians rarely receives coverage and is ready to dismiss.
Persecution. Now, I won't look here. Here's the problem. There are actually, I would say, Christians being persecuted in
the Middle East. It happens.
But it also, I mean, it does. I will very clearly say it happens in the United States. It happens with the Department of Justice. Going after protesters at an abortion clinic. It happens in Colorado with the judges in Colorado deciding that the baker must bake the cake, and force them to do things. By the way, if you look at the protests at the abortion clinic, I forget what state it is and what the DOJ is doing. It's horrible. Like, it does happen. So it's not just rare circumstances across the globe, but this ain't it. This ain't it happening to you, lady. And when you do it in the context of who you were working for, it is very clear, very clear. This through line of anti-Semitism is just a very clear separator of who's on the freak right and who believes in all the conspiracy theories and who isn't. And you don't play nice with others, and that's part of the problem. And you think you're probably, and this is the thing, a lot of who I've seen echo this stuff are usually mid-level media types who haven't had the success that they probably want to have. So they just start blaming other people and pointing fingers because they're not as good as they want to be, you know. And you know, you'll get, look, she might have a fair following, but I think she goes the way of Steven Crowder. And who knows? I don't know. Steven Crowder even making a living. Haven't heard from him since he, you know, did his whole stupid thing with Daily Wire a year ago or whenever it was.
And also,
you're not that talented. That's the thing. You're not that talented.
Yeah, no, I mean, Steven Crowder is definitely not that talented. I think that Candace Owens started off she could have had a good career. She could have been objective. I think that she really wanted to go for that clout. And so she doesn't have that anymore. Like I have just not heard good feedback on her. And like, you know, this was a long time coming. I don't know what else to say on this. You're going to have your YouTube platform. You're still going to be huge. You were not canceled. You were not persecuted. They ended the partnership because of things that you did. You were the problem.
Yeah.
And I think that you know that too. Like, I think that you were causing the issues for that clout because you knew that you were going to be doing something else.
Certainly. And that's why she has these defensive deflections.
And so we have this like overall discussion on like the hashtag freak, right? Should we go into what I saw this morning, Jeff?
Why don't I read it out? I'm going to put it on screen and we'll read it. So this was a Reddit thread.
This is Reddit.
Okay, so it's a screen grab off on X, Twitter, but it was from Reddit. So I'm going to flip on over to that and I'll read it for the audience here. Okay, topic, am I the devil? All right. Did I, 32 male, ruin my marriage by requesting a DNA test? ? All right, my 32 wife, 31, I'm assuming he typed, typed M here, but should have wrote F, female.
Yeah.
My wife gave birth to our newborn baby 3 months ago, and I thought things were fine. However, my wife did not. 2 months in, my wife approached me saying that she was exhausted from taking care of the baby alone, and she asked me why I wasn't helping. I told her that I told her that. Okay.
I thought
read it here. Yeah. I thought I was helping, but she pointed out that I never get up at night. I never get the baby while it's crying. Never change the baby or do anything. Okay. After some talking, I admitted that I was apprehensive about helping, and she asked why. I thought I was going to cause a fight, so I tried to change the subject. She told me that I should just tell her because if I didn't, she was going to her parents' house for help until by the way, folks, I'm reading this as it's written. This is not me not knowing how to read.
This dude clearly was typing fast and did not make edits to his grammar.
Yeah, if I didn't, she was going to her parents' house for help until she went back to work. Okay. I didn't want that, so I told her that I wanted a DNA test. She said she wished I would have told her this when she found out she was pregnant. I didn't understand that, but she agreed to it. She didn't seem mad or upset. She just said that I could set it up and we'd get it done because she didn't make the baby alone, so she shouldn't have to take care of it alone. Okay, fair point. We did the test, and when we got the results back, I told her and showed them to her. She didn't say anything about it. She just asked if I felt safe enough to help now. I said yes. Okay, I'm assuming the results were that he was the dad. Soon after that, I noticed her behavior started to change with me and my family. Everything changed, and she started staying in different parts of the house, parts I wasn't in at the time. I finally asked her about it recently, and she said that she lost all respect for me. She said she spent 10 years of her life with me faithfully just for me to slap her in the face with a DNA test request. I explained that I didn't think she had been unfaithful, but I just needed to be sure. She said that she's trying to work through it, but everything I say sounds moronic to her, and we would we should just leave it where it is. Okay. She might have a point that you're a moron, but we'll keep going. I thought if I showed her videos that I had her listen to podcasts about DNA tests, she'd understand. But after the last one, she said she was going to stay with her parents. Oh boy. I don't know what's happening or how to fix it. She wasn't even mad when I asked for it. Well, she might not have. Oh boy. I feel like she isn't hearing what I'm saying. It isn't that serious. And if she could just understand my perspective, I think she'll adjust hers. She's not even against DNA tests, so I'm unsure as to what her issue is. I don't know. Okay. Now, this is one thing. Pearl Davis at Pearly Things, who has a very strong YouTube following, gained notoriety last year. Her notoriety is waning because she's a one-trick pony. Doesn't like marriage. Has what is clearly like confirmation bias because she's surrounded herself with people who have been in shitty situations, and then like goes on to spread that twisted gospel of don't get married to her entire audience. So this putz clearly watched either her videos or somebody who parroted her get a DNA test thing. Now, what you're doing, gentlemen, when you ask your partner, your wife, your spouse to get a DNA test for your child, you're calling her a whore. Now, I don't recommend that. But here's the thing. She might be a whore, okay? But odds are she's not.
Okay. So I let me stop you. You're unless you suspect your wife of actually cheating on you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Majority of the time, this is not what's happening. If you were like not suspecting this and you come out of the fucking blue after your wife pops out a baby and says, I need a DNA test, and then you wonder why afterwards she doesn't really love you anymore.
Yeah.
You're the asshole. I'm so sorry.
So
you are the asshole.
Yeah.
Like, I don't how can I say this in the best way possible? Jeff, we have done an episode on this girl, and I really do not follow a lot of the things that she says because it's so fucking out there.
You're not on YouTube. Like, you're not on YouTube a lot?
I just watch other things.
Okay.
I watch whatever. I do like that one. If you are not suspecting your wife of cheating on you, and afterward you ask your wife for a DNA test because you listened to this fucking idiot, you're a moron. You are a moron. You are a moron, and the problem in your marriage is actually you. Let me be very clear. The problem is not your wife. It is the fact that she popped out a baby, is taking care of the child that you helped make in the marriage. You married this person. You put a ring on it. Okay? And I understand that there's unfaithfulness in marriage and all of that other stuff. Cool. In this instance, it doesn't sound like this was the problem or even the case. You, out of the blue, asked for a DNA test to your wife who had just had a baby, and then you wonder why she is sleeping in another bedroom or not even hanging out with you.
So
you are the moron here. You're the idiot.
Yeah. This gentleman is clearly a fucking moron. Clearly. Now, my advice to this gentleman is to listen to me, go back to your wife and sit down in front of her and say, honey, I'm a fucking moron. I'm so sorry. I never should have done this. And this is Michael Knowles sat down with Pearl, and he said, you got to keep that marriage together. As stupid as he is, and I hate the whole trope of the dumb, dopey husband, but this actual guy is a moron for doing this. And maybe change a few diapers. Beg her to take you back. Say, I was a complete idiot. I got caught in this. Delete your YouTube account. Remove the app from your phone. Don't ever go down this. Start reading some books. Go out and get some fresh air. Don't do this because
why are you listening to a woman who is almost hitting 30 that has never been in a healthy relationship in her entire fucking life?
Correct.
What she is doing is
she's
going on the deep internet, looking at what all of these dudes say, these dudes who have also never been in a healthy relationship in their lives. And she is just repeating their
right.
insecurities to everyone else, pretending like women are the problem. This is not the issue.
But she's also
her stuff, and like now we see that this marriage is in trouble. This is literally her. I'm sorry, I am ranting. This is literally her garbage. A DNA test after your wife pops out a baby and there's no concern about unfaithfulness. What the fuck are you doing?
She's also a moron, though. You have to understand this. A few months ago, she gets on X, and she starts this tweet thread, and I replied to it. I didn't get much reply. She's like, if women didn't exist, the world would go on, a spinning, like just some stupid hypothetical, like civilization wouldn't collapse because men would just go on about doing their thing, and if men disappeared for some reason, like civilization would collapse. Well, I explained to her, I was like, the entire reason, 90% of the reason men do the things they do, and speaking as a man, is for women. Okay? And this concept, and other people replied to her when she had this retarded epiphany, said the same thing to her. And she said it herself, like, this is the funny part, and you might take offense to this. She said men are smarter than women. And I almost wanted to throw it back in her face, like, maybe like you should take your own advice and shut up and not go out with this dumb ass shit, because she says this stuff and it's entirely stupid, and doesn't listen to what the replies are to bother to learn anything and get better. And
look, men and women different strengths and intelligence. I will say that. Like, I think men are more, how can I say this? Overall, I think men are more ambitious in their jobs and they work really hard. I think that there's a certain intelligence for that.
Why do you think
a female's ability to find out information, you're a fucking moron. Like, women have other types of intelligence. They can take care of a home. They can go out into their jobs and they can, be ambitious and all of that other stuff. But women just have a different type of intelligence. Like, and it's not a bad thing between the two of them. It doesn't also.
No, it's not. It's a good balance. It's a good balance. What do you think drives that ambition, though? In a subconscious level for men.
I think it's hormonal. I think it's your testosterone.
Yeah,
like
it is.
I do think it's the way that you're biologically linked. Yeah. Like, and women, we have a different type of that. Like, we have mostly estrogen, and so like we have different things that we're interested in and really good at. Yeah. Some women are I will say, some women are in their career fields and they are ambitious and all this other stuff, climbing the ladder and all this other stuff. I just think that we have different types of intelligence. When Pearl says things like men should ask for DNA tests to ensure their baby when they've been in a marriage and there's no like unfaithfulness, so the men has that trust. I don't know where you're getting this from. Like, the thing is like, you have openly said that you've never been in a long-term healthy relationship ever.
She's getting,
and it's the one idiot on the deep internet who says this.
It's the it's the feedback loop. It's the feedback loop she's created for herself, because she found a very narrow lane. That's actually not so narrow if you talk about in large percentages of the population, of guys who have gotten royally screwed over in their divorces. Now, you say that, it's like, well, are you denying that they got screwed over? Well,
I do agree that there's a lot of men out there that when they get divorced, they get royally screwed. Okay, I do agree with that.
I agree with that too. That's not the point, though.
But you're going to create a lot more divorces when you promote the idea that married men, when there is no like feeling of unfaithfulness, should get a DNA test for their newborn baby. Okay, like, that is going to cause a lot of hurt. Okay. And it is not the woman's fault. That is actually the man's fault for being an asshole. Okay. Like, I'm sorry, but like, understand your perspective. No, dude, like, we're having a conversation and like, you literally can't understand why asking for a DNA test when I said I didn't cheat on you is kind of an asshole thing to ask for.
I would maybe say if the kid looked nothing like you, which the moron in the little Reddit post there didn't say anything that he just said he got it. He was like, maybe if the kid looked nothing like you, you'd have a point to be like,
there was no speculation that this woman was cheating on him. None. He just wanted it because he heard it from these videos and podcasts. We know absolutely what that means. We know where this comes from. We know it was you.
Yeah, the weird part, there's a definite pattern to all of these YouTube influencers, which follows. They explode and go viral by making a point. And you said you're not on YouTube that much. I'm on it a fair amount. You know, I watch a good amount of comedy podcasts.
I watch whatever sparingly.
But whatever.
I watch the Y-Files. That's pretty much the expense, like, and movie trailers.
Okay.
That's a big.
But even the whatever podcast, right? If you watch the one episode of the whatever podcast, you've seen every episode of the whatever podcast. It is the same thing over and over again. So that one episode, while might find a thread of uniqueness, that you have a bunch of OnlyFans girls on there and say, you know, you're just being used and like, you know, men don't really want that and you'd be happier in a long-term relationship. It's like, okay. All right. Next episode, rinse, repeat. Pearl surrounds herself with people who got divorced and had bad situations and how women initiate most of the divorces. Okay. Statistically true. It's like, yep. Now you've seen everything. But if you repeat that over and over and again, you'll get that wider audience. Andrew Tate, even when Andrew Tate came on board, it's like, you know, modern men are pussies. All right, hey, you have a point. Like, be more successful. Like, work harder. Just stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's like they find one lane.
Where this crosses a line, where it's like, yes, you have this one kernel of truth.
Correct.
One kernel of truth. But then you take it and then you say, you should get a DNA test for every single baby so men feel comfortable in their marriage. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. If you don't suspect unfaithfulness or infidelity, you going out of the blue to say to your wife who popped out a baby, you should get a DNA test, that's ridiculous. I mean, Andrew Tate, if he says that modern men are pussies, okay, trust me, I've made the joke, we're losing the next world war. Okay, like, I've made that joke before. There's a kernel of truth that men who are modern men need to step up and be who they biologically need to be.
Yeah.
Get over yourself and make healthy steps in order to better your life. Be a man. That's not saying that we don't think that you should, you know, be emotional or anything like that. We're not saying that. But where takes it to the next level is where he doesn't promote healthy steps in order to become that man. Correct? Like, that's
correct. Well, this is the thing. It's like, if you talk about how, and Tate did this, is like, you talk about how Western civilization is crumbling and do this. It's like, okay, well, what gets us there? It's like men stepping up and being real men. Okay, well, you don't do that by, like, you know, pimping out girls and pretending to be a baller. Pretending to be a baller.
Sorry. You do that by getting married, taking care of your family, having a good job, being successful in life, and, you know, taking over it's positive masculinity. Like, the thing is like, when you see, like, you know, Michael Knowles and Pearl, like, debate, and I saw little clips of it. I still have not seen the long form yet.
He's got the whole thing on his ex.
I know. I probably will watch it maybe tonight. But, you know, he's really pushing this, like, no, men need to do these certain things. And what Pearl is really promoting is, like, this libertarian hedonism of, like, these online grifters. Like, it's weird. Like, you all complain about the fall of Western civilization. Pearl is literally promoting the lifestyle that's going to help push that quote unquote fall.
Yeah. No, and what society should return to is, as Michael Knowles puts it, more traditional Christian, in both your and I case, Catholic values, right?
Yeah.
And I'm no, angel when it comes to that. So I'll even say, but like, it takes you time to recognize
Figure it
that.
out.
You
It
have
does.
to recognize that the emptiness of going to the club and the fool's gold of the shiny new car and dating lots of women and doing that. It's here's the thing. This is I talked to somebody about a friend actually personally. Like, that stuff can be fun. No doubt. It can be fun.
But is it
Going out, drinking, having a good time, carousing. It's fun. It's why people do it. But
is it
it's not fulfilling.
fulfilling?
It's
Yep.
not fulfilling, and you're empty. And by the time you start to get into your probably mid to late 20s, college is a blur. You're having fun. You're not in the real world. You get out into the real world, just start making some money. That goes on for a couple years. And then it's like the same pattern, and you're like, okay, well, I'm not getting the same thrill, and this seems pretty empty. At the end of the night, you wake up with that hangover. It seems a little bit worse, and then you're like, this isn't doing it for me anymore, and it has to happen. And for some people, I go back and forth with this. It's like, well, get married at age 20, and I'm like, all right, I don't know about that because it's like, there are statistics that say the earlier people get married, the higher likelihood of divorce. It's like, because they didn't get to, be single in their 20s. And do you have to go through that pattern? Do you have to go through that process of understanding? For some people, maybe. For some others, no.
I think
it depends on the person.
Right. I also think it depends on where you grew up, right? Like, I feel like when in the South, people get married a lot younger and it works out, right? It doesn't in some cases. I will acknowledge that. I think that New England has higher college education rates. And I think that people who are higher educated need to have that buffer period before they get married because they feel like that is necessary for their adulthood, and that's fine. I just my ultimate problem with the quote unquote freak right, that includes like Andrew Tate, Pearl, Candace Owens. You are not promoting anything that is healthy or benefits what the ultimate goal is. A good traditional family unit that supports our country. You're not doing that.
Mm-hmm. And Andrew Tate's gone full anti-American, which I'm like,
cool. Yeah, bye.
I'm out on that. He's done in my book.
I mean, like, he was never okay in my book, but also, like, if you don't really, if you hate America, okay, fine. Everyone else hates America. I love my country.
Yeah,
I love my country.
Yeah. No, he's definitely made that turn, that heel turn. Which, hey, dude, you make it, but like, fuck you. And here's the thing.
The shit on America stuff will get you a ton of clout online. You're trying to bring lefties over to your cause. Okay, whatever. I love my country.
You've immediately, like, even, and I'll say this, and I think I think the jury's in now. Tucker Carlson on the freak right.
Yeah. I mean, he went over.
There's a lot of evidence. He could still flip back.
Supermarkets are better than ours.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever been to a Stop and Shop when it is like fully stocked on a Tuesday? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do you literally step outside your main home and go to the supermarket up there and it's like gorgeous? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're like, oh, there's no trash in the streets of Moscow. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, buddy, like, it's Russia. I don't know what to tell you. Like, they live in basically a police state like they did in the Soviet Union.
Yeah. No,
you can't even speak out against your government over there.
Right. When you're part, this is the libertarian crowd too, the blame America first crowd. When you do that, when you get into that lane, you're on the freak right. Okay, and the normals like you and I and other people who recognize this, who go, like, okay, they had a point. They got my eyeballs looking there, but then they start to go to another level. They're out. But what's happening now is I think the content has become so saturated online and elsewhere, where again, I think we're returning to the mean. Like Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro has always been solidly capital C conservative, fusionist conservative, and the freaks are sort of melting away because people have had enough. It's going to take a longer time. It's not done. It will always have to happen. This is something that'll never be over with. So, but the filtering mechanism is getting better. So I think Daily Wire made the wise move, parting ways with Candace Owens. Pearl Davis will melt away. They'll just, because it's just, if it's the same thing over and over and over again, if you can't think beyond your one issue, your one trick pony, you'll have a flash in the pan. You'll go 6 to 12 months and you'll make your money. Hold on to it because it ain't going to last. And right now, the serious people are starting to realize that they have to start to step up more and do serious things. All right.
We were going to talk a little bit about Marjorie Taylor Greene and this
she's
dumbass, we're not going through this with the speaker thing again, just throwing it out there. We have a 1-seat majority. This is ridiculous. We're tired. Everyone's tired. We're in election year. Focus. Focus. That's all we need you all to do is focus. I am so tired of inner Republican turmoil on the dumbest shit. We are one party, come together, pass legislation, and act like we deserve the majority. This is not that hard, okay? I'm not even a populist, okay? Sometimes I am, to be quite honest, because, quote unquote, the elites, like you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's an elected member of Congress, need to get their fucking shit together and stop going after the speaker, our Republican speaker, and trying to say that it's a hit against him, because we all saw you later on the steps of the Capitol trying to get all of these reporters to come get your quote. Fuck you, do your job, and stop with this crap. We need to pass legislation. We need to look like we are a party that can actually govern. Knock it off. Sorry. I'm not sorry. But yes.
Patreon.com/RINOpod. Patreon.com/RINOpod. Only $1 a month for extra content. There's really not much else to say to this week, folks. Get your act together. Those on the right.
House GOP.
Get your act. No, not just the House GOP, but the freak right. Get your act together. We'll take you back if you show some sense of normalcy, but you're probably not going to be able to pull it off. All right. That is it for now. We will see you all soon. Next week is Easter, so I don't know if we'll do an episode, but we'll be back soon, whether it's midweek or on the weekends. This is the #1 conservative podcast in the state of Massachusetts, and we are very appreciative of you watching. So share this, repost it, retweet it. I don't know. I go back and forth between X and Twitter. X is not a good name. I get what Elon is obsessed with X.
It's a weird brand. It's weird. I call it Twitter. We need to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Bye for now. Patreon.com/RINOpod. Bye.
Bye guys.